If you've ever found yourself in the situation where you have achieved a really big goal, it is something that you have worked toward, you pursued it unapologetically, you didn't need permission from anybody else to do it, and you absolutely believed in yourself. But then, once that goal was achieved, you found that you couldn't relax into what you had accomplished because there was this sense of need inside of yourself to set the next goal, to move toward the next thing. I want you to know that doesn't have anything to do with your confidence, and it doesn't have anything to do with ambition. It actually goes much deeper. So, if you've ever been in a situation where you find yourself moving the goalpost, that anytime you've achieved, it's never been quite good enough, that there's always a next step, a next level, more to do, then I want you to know that this is a situation where what you're creating isn't necessarily being created because it's what you want. It's being created out of a much deeper need for something else. And that's what I'm going to talk to you about today. The perfect example to share with you what's actually happening under the hood is to talk about Patrick Swayze, an amazing actor, so many films. And hey, I have to admit, in the 80s and 90s, I thought he was pretty hot, but he was relentless. He was committed, and he was always striving to do better with each thing that he did. Now, that's not necessarily the problem. All of those are real things. I mean, to be successful, you have to be driven and committed to a degree. But there was something else that he was chasing, and he just continued to raise the bar again and again. So if you've ever gone to see any of the interviews that he's done, you will find that he shares what he was feeling on the inside. And quite honestly, I was floored the first time I heard it because I never in a million years would have believed that Patrick Swayze felt this way. His mother was a dance instructor and a choreographer, and she pushed him relentlessly to excel at what he did. In these interviews, he has shared that oftentimes he felt like he was competing with other students for his mother's love and affection. His father was a man's man, if you know what I mean. He was a very masculine guy, the type of person that you would think wasn't too much into feelings, except he was extremely supportive of Patrick Swayze. See, this didn't go the direction you thought it was going to go. He was extremely supportive of Patrick, and he was his grounding and centering influence. He would affirm to Patrick that you can be a dancer and you can be masculine, but he never really quite believed it. And then his father suddenly passed away, and he lost that grounding influence in his life. And he says that he never felt that he had the opportunity to live up to his father's level before his father passed away. He felt like he was never able to demonstrate the level of masculinity and just the good person that his father was to him. So, what he's done all this time is attempted to find a way to bring himself across in a way that he felt that people would receive him as being masculine and being a dancer. And isn't that ironic? To look at him, you would never guess this is playing out in his mind. But what's happened is he has always been playing to an invisible audience, because logically you can know that's not an issue. But internally, that invisible audience, the protective part of the mind that at some point thought, oh my gosh, in order to achieve the love and affection, I must do this. And in order to be masculine enough, I must do that. These things influence our decisions, they influence our behaviors, and they filter how we show up. If you go back and listen, His exact words were, I feel like I have to atone for not being good enough. I feel I have to atone for not being enough. And here's the thing, that invisible audience doesn't disappear when you just magically know, oh my God, this is what I've been doing. That's not enough to get the invisible audience to disappear. You've actually got to show the subconscious mind that there is an alternative that is safe. If you don't do that, then nothing is going to change. Your identity is still going to run on the old, outdated protective mechanism. So if there's ever been a time where you wanted to show up or where you couldn't let yourself rest in what you've achieved, then think about what might be running behind the scenes that's creating this situation for you. Whether it's a message that you have to share, a change that you're making in your life, the person that you've chosen to live the rest of your life with. I mean, this applies to relationships, it applies to entrepreneurship, it applies to your overall passions in life, where you will not fully step into who you are because there's this narrative running of what do you have to do to be received, because the most influential people in your life over your biggest decisions may not even be in your life anymore, because your subconscious mind does not run on logic. It does not run on logic. An example of this is a client that I had that came to me because she was at a crossroads in her business and there were a lot of opportunities available for her. What was coming up for her, because she's a very aligned person, she wanted to be sure that the decision she was making was rooted in alignment and not her ego. She wanted to be sure she was choosing to do the thing she was doing for the right reasons. Within a couple of sessions, it became very clear she did not realize that there was some external validation that had bled over into her decision making in her business. Once we uncovered the need that external validation was filling, we were able to take care of that and give her a new solid foundation in its place that was safe. And she canceled projects that if she had went ahead and signed on the dotted line and followed through, it would have cost her over $1 million just to get started. Just to get started. She saved at least $1 million by getting rid of this internal audience that she has been playing to for so long. And it's just amazing with what she's done since then. It's not enough to just name it, though. That's what I want you to hear. Insight is a beautiful thing. But when we're talking about these deep internal protections that we have running, insight is not enough. You have to show the mind that it's safe enough to actually allow that insight to change the situation. And so the work went deeper from there, and it was absolutely a beautiful thing. But right now, I want you to take a moment and imagine yourself. Imagine yourself and whatever invisible audience is there that is guiding your decisions without maybe you even being aware of it. What if that wasn't there anymore? What if you knew that no matter what, you could be loved and accepted, that it was safe, and you were fully confident and resourceful enough in yourself to really say what you mean, to really pursue what you want instead of what people tell you is reasonable or the right thing to do? What makes the most sense? Because sometimes what we deeply want to do makes no logical sense. Let's be honest. That's what being a disruptor and a leader is about. What if that invisible audience wasn't there anymore? What if you fully stepped into that? How would that feel energetically? What would shift for you in terms of being in alignment with what you're doing? What other opportunities could possibly open up for you And what would the financial ceiling be? See, I bet there wouldn't be one. So, who is in the room with you when you make your biggest decisions, even when you're alone? Who is in the room with you, right? Patrick Swayze kept moving the goalpost. He was moving the goalpost because he was performing for an audience that he could never actually satisfy. He was never going to find what that audience was looking for outside of him. And you might be doing the same thing. This isn't a mindset issue, this is an identity shift issue. Finding out who's in the room and updating the subconscious so that it's safe to make decisions without them. That's the work. It's not a reframe, it's not affirmations. This is identity level work. And if you're ready to find out who is in your room and to clear that space so you can fully expand into what you are here to do, I will leave the details below. Be sure to hit like and subscribe to my channel before you click away from the video.